Okay, we are live. Just gonna select a background color, and I don't even know what I'm gonna paint yet. I should probably think about that. I was thinking recently how little I've been using the lasso tool. Look at that. I even have it on polygonal lasso tool. Ridiculous. I've not been using the tool properly. Okay, so let's get ourselves set up here. I think we'll just start with a general block in, and then we can move into the lasso tool when it makes sense. So let's do the color jitter. So last week we did a sculptural fountain based on a reference. I should really learn about the things that I'm painting. That would make me a better artist. But alas. Oh, we got Adonis in the chat. Streaming 30 minutes early. I say, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, the 9 o'clock stream that always seems to start at 9:45. What's that all about? Hey, you know, I was thinking, how long ago it was that I had made a bunch of brushes on the stream here for this project and then did not save them. There was like a crash and I lost them, and I thought maybe I should make some brushes again. I don't know, would that be boring? If that's boring, we could skip that, but there are times I start kind of playing with an idea, and then I feel like, you know, what would make this cool? A brush that would just paint it for me. Then I wouldn't have to go through all the heartache of being a real artist. Sorry, I'm in a mood. But no, a brush that would give us a lot of mileage, I think, on little greebly bits and, you know, scaffolding and that sort of thing. That might be fun to implement. Kind of as I'm seeing this now, I'm kind of seeing this as like a potential cityscape with the skyline back here. I don't know. I don't want to get pigeonholed into what this could be, but as I was playing with, you know, a couple of those initial shapes, I thought that'd be kind of fun. You know, we could also go kind of the more deep space route with this, you know, make it like this vast space. Yeah. Been playing with these. It's been a while since I've done it, but I have a separate sketchbook where I've been playing with these ships kind of wandering through the nothingness of space, you know, like a kind of a homeworld type of theme, if you're familiar with that franchise. That might be kind of a fun thing to do, just have this kind of expanse. We'll put a ship in it. Okay, so that being said, let's do it. I see Manny in the chat. Paint, Eric, paint like the wind. How does the wind paint? Paint like the moon on the water. Grasshopper. As the water reflects the moon, it is not the moon, but it bears its image and distorts it. I don't know, I'm trying to make some kind of a karate thing or cult or something. I don't know, we gotta see if we can make something out of this. I feel like that was like a saying when I took karate. It was like mind like water, mind like the moon, or something like that. It was, I don't know, something about being malleable and able to adjust. Hopefully the moral of that little mantra wasn't to like be able to remember things, particularly important things like the meaning of the mantra. That would be too much to ask. Alright, so I'm going to layer in some more smudge brush here, try to get some atmosphere. I did see another message from you in the chat there, Adonis. Give me just a moment and I'll get right back to that. Make them again. I want to see the process for these new brushes. Yeah, we can go through that. I might try to move a little quickly with it so that we're not spending most of the time on tools. However, I know me by now that like if I say something's going to be quick and we're just gonna do this real quick, yeah, it's gonna end up being like the highlight of. It's going to be the whole point of what we're doing by the time we get to it. This you must ascertain by yourself, young one. Yes. Yes. The meaning of all things. To know is to unknow and to start again. Wasn't that like was that a Thoreau saying? The result of all of our searching is to arrive at the place that we began and to see it again for the first time. That's a rather loose paraphrase, but I think the moral of the story is when you haven't got anything good to say, quote someone smart who said something abstract. That's a terrible moral. This is not a helpful live stream for children. Just giving them bad advice. It's bad life advice, kids. There are no kids here. All right, so I'm laying in these kind of value shapes here. There's obviously we're very close on the value spectrum. Everything's pretty tight, and so we'll come in over top of this with. I don't know if we'll do it with an overlay or if we'll just. I don't know. We have different options on how to adjust it, but I want to kind of push these into different zones so that it's not this kind of two-tone that we have. I want to start looking at it as major shapes as well as these kind of minor. I would consider a lot of these, more in the detail range, that these are kind of describing shape and form, placement in three-dimensional space, and I think that coming in with something that addresses the entire composition graphically. So we either split it, maybe split it horizontally, or who knows, sky's the limit, but that's something I'll come in and play with shortly, and then we'll build those brushes. You may have to remind me. I'm forgetful. Like the anti-elephant, right? Elephants remember stuff. What's the creature that doesn't remember anything? Squirrels? More Mr. Rogers. I don't know a lot of Mr. Rogers. Will you be my neighbor? That's it. That's all I got. Hello there. That's another one, right? You think that's enough Mr. Rogers knowledge to get me on, get me through The Price is Right? Or Jeopardy? I'll take Mr. Rogers for 200. What is Will You Be My Neighbor? We don't know what's going on with Eric, but he seems to have suffered some irreparable damage. I got warm-cool split. Okay, but I'm going to say no. I might even want to just keep this whole thing into in one homogenized color zone. Let's just do that now. Why not? This is our painting. We do what we want. So do we shift it towards... See, I guess the question would be for the value of this image. Do we want the saturation to be in the lights or in the darks? So that is, if we go from middle gray up, then our most saturated stuff is going to be in the shadow, and then if we go from middle gray down, then we have a dark scene with saturated lights. Too early to say, sir, for thus far I have done next to nothing. But we can play with it either way. So let's maybe we take this into the dark zones there, and then we pull this down to here, maybe. I don't want that to be true black. Okay, alright. Okay, so that's option number one. Then we go with option number two. We're gonna, actually this, it already is pretty high. So our darks are this really, deeply saturated color here. And for this I might come in channel by channel. Red. So that way we're pushing away the saturation as we get up into the lights. Since we're doing our red on blue here. And we'll drop out the red in the background. Hit our greens and see what we can do here. That's a Bob Ross quote. Will you be my neighbor? I think that is Bob Ross. I think you're right, Manny. He was the one who said that life is like a box of chocolates. Right? I think he said something else about a beach towel and the number 42, something like that. Dolphins. Any of this ringing a bell? This is the part of the show where we where we throw out the lifeline. We see if we can. You phone a friend. Somebody save us. This is going completely off the rails. Playing with sliders. A live stream. That's no slider. That's a curves layer on a histogram. That's a battle station. So, I like these shifts, going from this blue into the greens before we get into the white. Yeah, whatever. Let's go with that. So we've got that. We got this version. We got this version. I'm kind of leaning towards the brighter version, though it feels more like this is a daytime image on a planet. This gets us nowhere right now, I think. In fact, I might just do a levels. I might even just nuke that thing. That's doing a whole lot of nothing right there. All right, and then we'll bring this up. Maybe we'll go in channel by channel on this. Bleh. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now you're speaking my language. Let's bring the whole thing down. Cap the. I'm gonna bring it down. Bring it up this way, down this way. And I guess we can just do a hue saturation on top of that because I'm feeling lazy. So teal has a natural, brighter cast to it. Do we want to be in the? Let's go into this range. Sha. Boy, that's unpleasant. All right, whatever. I'm going to go off of that original concept. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to set it to lighter color, and we'll grab this value. I'm going to go. Let's go with this nasty square standard. And then I'm just going to go a little bit lighter, and I'm going to shift this over. I actually want to end up maybe right here, and then super desaturated. And then this may. Oh no, we don't want lighter. We want to do. We're going to do a blend if, which may crash Photoshop, but that's what we're here for. That's not quite the value that I want. That might get us closer. Let's do a different brush because I think it's blending my foreground value as well. It's really starting to resemble something that I've painted before, which is terrible because it looks awful. Okay, there we go. Somewhere in there. And then we'll bump this up. So we're going to push it back. So it's like we're kind of looking through this cloud layer or something here. There we go. And then let's change this value here. Ooh. Bring forth the celestial city. Ever mess with a gradient map to throw in quick colors in quickly? Yeah, I have, though. I don't know. I never really got it in. It never became my workflow. Maybe it should be. Maybe I should try harder. Get it to work. Because, you know, theoretically, like in principle, it makes a ton of sense. You know, you have your palette worked out. Ahead of time. But maybe I'm just not that organized. Too exploratory, maybe. You know, the exploration with that tool, you know, that I think would probably be pretty beneficial to go that way too. Is that I was curious if that's a process that you've played with much in your work. I did a few contracts where that was kind of the way to go about it, you know. But in my personal work, I don't think that I really had patience to stick with that method and make that my method of choice. Alright, up here, let's go. We just need another layer. We'll start to blend some of these things together with some manual painting. Even these, you know, these being so dark up here, maybe I need to push all of that up to a lighter value so that they feel farther away. Maybe we set this to lighten as well, lighter color. That way we don't have to be so careful about where we put it in. I'll just make a mess over this. I like that purple tone in there. That's nice. Though I have a hunch that is going to have things. It's going to pull things forward in space. Make it feel maybe too much like a, you know, defined shadow rather than like a mass. And now we're playing with the lost and found edges here. Okay, let's see. Maybe we need to bring some of these values up a little bit. Not 100% sure. Is that a Bob Ross saying as well? I don't know. That might just be an Eric Elwellism. I have no idea what I'm doing. Perhaps the whole meaning of my life was to serve as an example for others, as a confidence booster to make other people feel like, hey, you know what? I know more than this guy. If he can do it, nothing can hold me back. Answering the question in the chat, I've done it a few times to get over some hump, struggling to get a color scheme going. Yeah, you know, colors, it's finicky. You know, I don't tend to start in grayscale. You know, I usually try to have something laid in to kind of set the tone. I mean, I guess that's literally where that comes, that phrase comes from. But I always end up, I think, coming back, really getting irreverent with the color scheme. Whereas, you know, that would be something that in a traditional work, you'd really have to have that figured out ahead of time, or you're wasting a lot of time. All of a sudden have become interested in like a little swirly thing. It's kind of a motif that I've played with in some of the other live stream paintings, but to do it, to incorporate it into something that has other techniques or other kind of design motifs in it. I don't know, it might be fun to try to combine some of these things. That might be too on the nose there. Sorry, I gotta move the microphone. It was bothering me. I also like the idea of all of this down here being like, I don't know, separated on another plane here. So we'll maybe, if I can pull it off, get this to be a kind of a floating shape. Maybe it might be too, it's too on the nose. You're trying too hard to be a cloud, friend. Stop trying to be a cloud and just be what you are. A smudge on a canvas. We all like you better that way. But I want to be a cloud. It is my passion. Very well. But don't say I didn't warn you. Negative. I don't like that. See, I'm curious about going too heavy with saturation in the foreground when I, might end up just kind of nixing a lot of this. Having it diminish, play second fiddle. Might have to bench it for a while, you know what I mean? Put it in timeout, give it a break. There you go again, trying so hard to be a cloud. But that's what you asked me to do, sir. I'm not a mind reader. Yeah, I don't know if that kind of kills the scale a little bit, doesn't it? All right. Okay, you said something about making brushes or something like that. We may need to do that. I want to do more block in, but let's make the brush. Let's make the brush. So let's take all this, bippity bop, and we'll do Control G. Oh boy, that's hard on the eyes. So this is our, call this our work group. We'll do a new layer. And so I'm thinking like a scaffolding brush would be kind of cool. I might not be in the right frame of mind to do this because I know there's going to be a certain amount of engineering that's going to go into that, but but let's just go for it. So I think what we need to do is first let me put a white background here so I don't completely lose my mind staring at this checkerboard. Alright, so I think we need, we're going to need the outside rails. So we have two areas like this. Okay, and then I think we're going to want to extend these like so. So there's a little bit of weight to them. We may end up needing to do some trickery with lowering the opacity and all that kind of stuff, because we're almost assuredly going to be doing a dual brush. Okay, so a couple ideas of how a dual brush could work. Oh, welcome, Nat's in the chat. Yeah, so love the colors. Let's pull it up. It's blue. I told you I was going through a blue phase. Oh my goodness, this is like subliminal. Can't even. I can't shake it. It's just there. It's in the work. Okay, so we've added a little cross beam. This will be like a. This will be a separate brush that we'll make. We'll bring it as a dual brush, and I'm just trying to make a. I don't know. This is probably a dumb idea, but make a little. Add a little bit of randomness to it. Maybe actually. This might be fun. Let's start with just the basic mechanics of it. Then we'll add to it to see if we can make it more interesting. So I think that we're going to end up with a brush like this. Perhaps one that's a triangle, so we might duplicate this. Set the pivot point down here and rotate that like that. Okay, so we might have a brush that is this guy. So we'll set that up as a brush, then we'll do perhaps some other variations of it. Like I said, I'm not really in the like think this through and let's see, merge that down. And why can I not define a brush preset? Is it too big? It might be too big. This happened before. This is what happened when it crashed that one time. That one time that Photoshop crashed. Alright, so let's try this again. B. No. Make the selection. Got the selection. Define brush preset. Okay, so this will be our, we'll just call this triangle. Or actually, it's not even really a triangle. It's an implied triangle. It's an angle. There's no try to that angle. Alright, now we take this. And I have a hunch on where this is going. I think we need to take this center region and make it gray. But we're just going to start with this. And see if we can do something with this. So actually, let me save out this brush, this triangle brush. We'll call this. It's not a triangle, it's just an angle. EE angle 1, not 831. Although it may be my 831st brush. Who knows? Whether that's true or not, I'm just going to start claiming it. Eric Elwell, maker of 832 brushes. Alright, this one will be rails, right? Now we need to do a dual brush with this. So let's turn this background back on. We'll do a new layer. I'm going to change this color so it's easier on the eyes. So this is what we've got. Now we need to, I think, decrease the spacing. Shape dynamics, I actually kind of want to go with maybe initial direction, because that way, whichever way we start, Do we want initial direction, or do we just want it off so that it's always, you know, it has a little bit of a three-dimensional feel to it? And do we want to do size to pressure so that we can easily do a perspective type thing? Maybe. Let's simplify it for now. We'll have this pressure off. Or we could do a fade or something. I don't know. Fade's probably a bad idea. Let's do the dual brush. And then we need to find our... oh boy. Angle that we made. Oh, there it is. Just by sheer luck. And then gotta find the right blend mode. So I think, see, this is where I'm talking about needing to have that area in the center, so that when we do this color burn, do we want to burn, or we might do a linear height, maybe something like that. But it's gonna add it into the middle. Okay, so let's adjust this brush to have a region in the middle here that is middle gray. So do a new layer there. That's probably fine. And that's our new brush. We'll see if this is Rails 2. Rails 2. Okay, so there's Rails 2. I think we need to increase the spacing so that it stays gray in the middle there. Like that. Angle, Control D, we'll turn this back on. Okay, so I think we need to do angles with direction. We need to decrease the spacing. Now let's go to our dual brush. We'll pick this guy and we'll increase the spacing on these. And the size. And this is something where we may need to do some finagling with this guy, because the rotation is always going to be random. See, let's do a new layer. And so I think what might make sense is if we may have to do this combination of shapes between the primary brush and the dual brush. What in the world is this guy talking about? Or we might just need to make the we need to make that longer. Let's see. We lower our spacing, we get a harsher. Yeah, then everything's in the same. Oh, interesting. Oh, strange. I kind of like those artifacts. That is interesting when you go back over it. Yeah, let's do a new layer. Make it a little bigger. But I'm going to separate that just a little bit just to clean it up, because as much as I like those artifacts and the randomness of it, I think it's probably better to start a little bit clean, try to get the clean results, and then we can add some of that chaos into it. Alright, this is probably fine to start with. So let's go save this as EE Rails. Well, no. We call this the scaffold 1. Now, we have another tool in our toolbox, and that would be texture, right? So between the stamp brush, the dual brush, and the texture, we should be able to get some interesting little greeblies, potentially. So, I said this wasn't going to be a long thing, but here we go. Alright, so I'm going to take this. Let's add some more to it. So we'll throw this guy in here. Maybe do like we'll vary up the angles on this, so it's not, or the size of the weight of all of this, so it's not exactly the same all the time, right? And let's hide that. There's our mid-tone layer. There we go. Now let's see, what else do we want? We need, let's do a new layer with like, I'll throw in some circles and stuff like that. Little roundies. Okay. And then how about we go, that's probably fine. I was going to try to add a little bit of fun to that, but keep it as it is. I'm not sure the extent to which we need to overlap these kind of greeble shapes. Right, I think we need a little bit of randomness. We don't want to see the same things popping up over and over. Right. This is like Legos, man. There's Legos back there. Yeah, maybe we'll do another one over here. It's like this guy. We'll do, here. Delete that. No, here's what we want to do. We want to do a new layer. Go all the way around with that. And center that up. Control click and delete that out of there. Maybe we do, let's not duplicate that. Let's just selectify this, move it, and then we'll go one of these numbers, crisscross applesauce around the center. I don't know, something like that. Nope, wrong button. There we go. What am I doing? Nobody knows. Hey, we can use our brush within a brush, can't we? No one said we couldn't. This is our house. We play by no one's rules but our own. I just have this feeling of this is going to be one of these things where I come back and decide, hey, you know what? That was dumb. We need to get rid of all that stuff you added in there. Seems to be the way it goes. You know how you went through all that effort to do that thing? Yeah. Don't. I don't know. Just trying to get a few things out there that we can sample. So, I am thinking that what we need is a like middle gray on these things here, and then we figure out there's more thinking of this than I feel like doing right now, but let's give it a go. We're gonna go wider with this. Okay. Then we're gonna take this sample here. So I'm just gonna remove that background, and we'll take this. Okay, well that was not what I intended, but whatever, we'll take that. We'll bring this in here, okay? And then we'll take... do we need to repeat this shape? So does this shape need to be random, like we had it before? Or should it be fixed? You know, in the... built in here. My only concern with it being fixed is that then it kind of alludes to the perspective without us being in control of that. And maybe that's maybe that's what we need. Maybe I'm not going to have as much control with this thing as I might like to think. You know, anyway, so put this guy right here. And we'll grab this little dude. Actually, I like this one. This one makes way more fun. Okay, we'll bring this down to here. I think it's got to still be within this shape. So, or should this be our... We'll do something like that. Okay, before I get too much farther into this, I'm just going to, we'll grab one more little square type area, and then we'll test this out. So I don't want to get so deep into this that we find out it doesn't work, and Eric's just been wasting everyone's time. Typical Wednesday night. Alright, so what I'm thinking here, let's change that shape. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm actually wondering if even a soft overlay makes sense as well. But I'm going to do one more layer. That's our brush from before. This guy. Oh, Eric. You fool. You've gone too far. What is this man even thinking? Alright, so here's our mess. That's what we call that. We call this a mess. Okay, so now I'm going to bring these up to like, let's do we'll do 70% on these, all these details here. And actually, maybe we need to merge them together first. So let's grab all that. So from here to there, all these guys, use guys, that's all of our details. Let's make sure we don't have, we didn't grab something else on accident too. Okay. That's all of our little silly little details there. And I'm actually going to bridge these together because I think they deserve it after all we've put them through. They need a little ounce of respect. Okay, so now we got this, and I'm going to bring this down to like 70%, something like that. And then, let's see, maybe we need to just grab within that shape so that we are missing the edges there, and then we'll make a new brush out of this. So we'll go define a brush preset, and that may be too dark, but we'll see what happens. So we'll do Rail Greeble 1. Okay, so now let's this is our brush group, right? Brush, bing bang boom, new layer. We start painting, and we've got this block. We got this little stamp here, right? And so what I'm thinking is that we need something that is probably going to have to look like, let's see, words, brain. There we go. A gradient with our other brush inside of it. That triangle dude, the one that we never saved out, the one that's right here. So we got to save that one out too. Where is this brush? Down at the bottom? Okay, there we go. Let's do this. We'll grab this shape. We'll save this one as its own. So we'll define brush preset. E triangle, because this one's actually a triangle. And then, hey, maybe we'll just boop, drop one in there. And then we'll take this guy. Now I'm even confusing myself. What am I doing? I don't know. We'll come back to that. It's the way that these blend that we've got to get sorted out here. Okay, so let's go back to this brush. We could take this brush and play with its dynamics. I think we'll go with this guy. We'll change the spacing. So, and we'll go angle. It'll be direction. We'll bring that spacing back in again. Okay, so whoop, there's our brush. And then we go to that dual brush and we select our triangle. And let's see, maybe increase the spacing on this. Well, this is definitely a better brush than we made before, but it's still not doing the things that I want it to do. I'll go ahead and save this though, because I do like it better. This will be rails, what? 3? No, scaffold, that's what we called it. Scaffold 2. Alright. So, okay. Yeah, it's all coming back now. So, what we need is basically to layer these greebles on top of each other so that they're not showing the exact same thing every time. So we're going to take this guy, this guy, this guy, these guys, this whole family, and we're just going to mash them all up together. So like you guys over here with the Lego, you're gonna come up here, okay, and then I think we might need maybe just a strip of this. And I think I want this kind of like offset, right? So they're not all together. And now I think we need no. Shape like this or something. We got to kind of marry these things together somehow, right? I'm shooting from the hip here. This part, I'm confused. Confusing myself. Trust me, it's going to be all right. That all might be too much, but we're going to play off of that randomness that we get. On the other one. Okay, so we take all of this. This guy, that guy, that guy. Let's merge all that to, well, what do we want? You can be around, let's say 60 there. This guy, probably less of a chance. So I think how this is going to work is that the smaller of a chance we want for this thing to actually show up, we lower its opacity. I think. I don't want to get too confident with that, though. We'll push everything. We'll go around 80 with these things. Go gentle. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Okay, so now we take all this. And if it'll let us, we make a new brush out of that. We'll just call this nonsense. So it really doesn't make any sense. Okay. So now, I think we can go back here. I'll take all these and put them in the brush. One there. And we've got this scaffold, right? Oh, that didn't hold up very well, did it? What's the problem with you? I think the size of the dual brush got off. There we go. Be bigger. Let's try that. Save that one again. Blah, 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 whatever. Okay. So now we're going to change this greeble from the triangle that we made to, we need to find that crazy ball of wax we just came up with right here. Okay. So now, you see how we're going to start getting some of these random shapes in there. Unfortunately, that line seems to keep showing up. Let's tighten the spacing a little bit. Grab all that and delete. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see what's going on a little better. Okay. Not quite as random as I'd like, and that might be, you see the placement of that circle is kind of random, but we could do both axes, that might help. And either size or spacing is going to give us, I think they need to be sized to be about the same. The brush on the inside might need to be a little bit might need to be a little bit larger. think so. And then actually, I hate to go back on all this, but like, I think to really make this brush sing, this outside line should probably be a little thicker, or one of them should be thicker, so that it has a, so the detail distribution is a little bit more balanced. But let's spread that out like really far. And then you kind of get like every now and then you get that random little circle in there. Greeblies. Or let's bring them in nice and close so that you get just a lot of clutter. That's too much. Too much clutter. Clean your room. Maybe space them out a little more here. Let's bring them in. Yeah, I don't want it to be too uniform, so we want to push that out. Maybe just you try to find the limit to where it's gonna feel nice in a lot of different applications. So let's go ahead and save this one. We'll call this one. What do we call this? Scaffold Greeble, and maybe we do. Turn that size thing back on, so it's pen pressure. So we do these little tiny greeblies in here, and then we go, whoa, there's a big one. Might need to change the spacing if we're gonna do that. And then we could bring in texture, and I don't think any of my textures are really what's the word? Brain. Time to work. None of them are really like sci-fi or greebly or whatever. This is actually not too bad doing it. This is just a I think this is either a canvas texture or like blue jeans or something. It is grid-like. So let's do subtract, darken, overlay. Ew. Color dot. Whoa. Nope. 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 Color burn. Let's clear all this. I'm making a mess. So that's burn. This is nothing. The other one that I kind of liked was multiply. That's multiply. Linear burn. Now some of these can be much harsher, like hard mix. You just got to find the right brightness for this. See, right now it's going to be just like black. But hard mix can be really nice for or height. Any of those can be really nice for it's really kind of gritty. So I think if we bring the brightness down, no, up, then we'll get these really sharp kind of delineations between what's what comes through the mask and what doesn't. Let's see here. That's a lot harsher. I think I liked, what did I say? Either color, linear burn or multiply, and then just kind of getting this into the right zone here. I just want a little bit of bump on that. I don't want it to be so aggressive. That's probably half decent right there. Okay, so then let's play with this. We got ourselves a brush. I just feel like I'm losing my mind. This thing's gonna turn into something nutty. All right, we'll save that one. Scaffold Greeble 2. What texture? Scaffold Greeble texture 1. Okay. 3 years later, we return to the painting. Now, will these brushes break because they've been saved at different sizes, different scales than they were initiated at? Sometimes that happens. I might have to go in and play with the scale of them before I save them off again. But delicious tea. It's tea, Earl Grey, lukewarm. All right, so we got ourselves a new layer here. Let's grab our, our color that we get. Start bringing in these little detailies. And now it probably would make sense to do this as like a mask. Then we can kind of play with the color later. Herm. It's funny because now that we're doing this, I'm like, yeah, at this scale, I'm not really sure that any of this is really going to matter. But sometimes it is nice to be able to zoom in on a painting and see all these little things going on. Speaking of which, let's do that right now. And this doesn't all have to be, that positive space, where it's lit. It could be a little shadow. I mean, it's going to be positive space, but having this, come down into shadow down here, and you can kind of see these maybe scaffolds rising up out of the out of that little cloud thingy. And back here, we do it as the opposite effect. There's actually another thought there, is that the greeble doesn't necessarily need to sit perfectly inside of the scaffolding. You might want little bits on the outside coming through. This is an awful lot like a painting I had done years ago, in kind of the feel of it and the kind of industrial thing with these like bright blue clouds and all that sort of thing. Okay, we'll do a new layer here. Let's do do I want to do... I like the idea of a repetitive building shape. I don't really want to do domes because I'm tempted to do that, but like I kind of like this linear structure. Let's just go back to this original rail here. Maybe we'll just play with this. I think it might be time for a new layer here. Hum diddly dum. What do we want to do with this guy in here? These shapes need to be, a little more interesting. I like the monolithic nature of it. So I think if we break it up too much, that's not a good thing in that regard. However, I want to make it more interesting. Got these songs stuck in my head. Got that Erie Canal song. I'm almost certain this is a local flavor. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. I took my kids to the Erie Canal a couple weeks ago. And they learned the songs and stuff. And they've been singing it over and over and over. And it is now, it is a well-established brainworm. It has got me. Could be fatal. As soon as somebody starts singing, that's time to leave the stream. That's what they say, right? Oh boy, this is not what I signed up for. This ain't America's Got Talent. I came to watch the train wreck. Herm. Don't think that's quite the blue that I want there. Was that also a Bob Ross quote there? Herm. Oh boy. Careful, you get slammed with defamation. Okay, big picture here. New layer, and let's change our brushes up here. We'll go to nasty square standard. So I'm thinking all of this down here, that needs to kind of get diminished. And then we need to bring in this shape that maybe could be casting a shadow onto it. So there's maybe like a cloud type thing. Again, we gotta kind of blur, not blur, we need to blend the paint between those two. Pigment, color, that's the word, color. And then darken that up. I don't think it needs to be too extreme, but we're looking to have this kind of push that back, and then I think we can have these mesh together. Introduce a few more of these kind of diagonal type things. Smoke, smog kind of thing. It's all a value relationship thing, so we're trying to blend these in here, and recognizing that as we change any relationship over here, it just changes the whole balance of the image. What in the world is this guy talking about? The balance of the image. The image doesn't have any balance. I just have this idea, and by idea I mean I was getting the impression here that down in here this was starting to act as the reflection of this, which might be kind of neat to have this, maybe this is like an obsidian type material down here. Obsidian's always fun. Oh yeah, obsidian, that'd be fun. Okay, so we got this like kind of misty, cloudy thing going. And then we introduce some reflective type materials in there. That would be fun. I'm going to do another layer here before I do that though, and just kind of play with this. That sky back there. These little points where it's peeking through. And then we still have these little, and by little I mean small on the canvas, but in the background they would basically be these massive structures. Maybe a whole other city back there or something. Okay. So the whole reflection thing, let's play with that. New layer. We'll name this reflection. Now you know we mean business because we named it. And do we want this below our clouds that we made? That way it's not really, yeah, let's do it below, that way. Hopefully some of that effect will still come through. And then I'm going to lasso this quite a bit here. We're going to try to get a texture. And we may end up doing both directions here. So we're going, right now we're blocking in some positive shapes. I'm trying to get this kind of this swirl thing going on, right? And then we may come back in, see with the Alt option there, and just start cutting away some of these. Whoops. Alright. Let's just suppose that that's going to work for us. We'll do a couple more flat ones in here. We're probably going to have to, revise this as we go. But we'll play with this a bit. Sure, whatever. I think that'll work. And then we can either make this our let's make it the mask. I was gonna say we can either make it the mask or we do a a fill. We'll just do it this way. So we'll take our color we want to reflect here. Go a little darker for these background elements. I suppose we can reflect these, these clouds here too. Why not? They're there. Grab some of these clouds here, reflect those in. Add in a little bit of shadow underneath these other clouds here. The other thing to be thinking about is that we're reflecting the bottom of these surfaces, so they're not going to be as bright. This would be the exception here because you're reflecting the side that's being hit by light. But even then, I don't think I want to go quite this bright down here. Soften that up a little bit. And then I think we want to tighten it up just a little bit. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to have like a ship in here, like something flying in. Pew. Welcome to the station. whatever. And then I guess that's an opportunity to bring in a, different tone, different hue. Excuse me. Whew, should have warned you. Should have warned you that a sneeze was coming. It's a cruel game. I always find this interesting and somewhat painful to figure out cool sci-fi spaceship engine shapes, because you want them to be interesting but practical. Nope, not gonna happen. Alright, let's play with this a bit more. Get some of these tighter shapes in there. I get this feeling we're going to need to eliminate some of these, so that we can more clearly define and lead the eye where we want it. In fact, let's just start erasing away here. This guy. This can come down a little tighter there. What is this guy even doing? Wasting all this time. I always like to have these little greebles underneath. I don't know, I just think that's cool. But I don't know what in the world I'm doing these things on top. This makes no sense, really. I just wanted something to cast a shadow. The truth comes out. Yeah, I don't like those lines. I think I'd like to maybe move one of these over, and then actually, I think they're just too tall. Like, I think it's fine to have them kind of, you know, these shorter shapes, maybe. Let me just erase that out. Yeah, they don't quite need to have such a tall shadow there. There should be, I think this should feel more like, you know, equipment up top here, so I think we need to give these shapes a little more, something interesting. Actually, how about this? We do one that's like a positive and then a negative. Okay. And let's see, we got that. New layer. Grab our color here. I think we need to go more intense. Maybe just around like the periphery of this. I don't know if it should emanate out or come in towards the center. You know, so if this brightness is on this edge and then it gets darker as it comes in, that might look cooler than you know, fading out. It would give us more of an opportunity for contrast as well. I don't like how this kind of goes to nothing there. Okay, let's do a brighter color. And maybe what we'll do with this, we'll risk it all by turning this blend if option on. only blend in that really dark black area. Uh-oh, now I can't unsee the face. I'm just gonna have to own it now. Alright, new layer. And how about we take this scaffold, that guy right there, and we'll pin a layer to this, and then we'll bring in that light. Nope, that looks gross. Alright, maybe we'll do it. This guy. So let's see, we got this overlay thing going on. I don't know about you. I think we might need to just do a vertical. So do we want to go with that, or do we want to, so that would echo this, this vertical thing going on here, or, we give it a more dynamic. So this is the, kind of the main dynamic thing going on in the image. I think I'm leaning towards dynamic, but you know, it's got kind of an old style art to it, you know, that 80s, 90s style. Kind of like the vertical. Even if it doesn't feel quite right, like just graphically speaking, it's more fun to me. I'm having more fun. All right, let's do a new fill layer. Throw in that blue, and we'll just start seeing what we can do here. I'm gonna go with the pin light, and then start bringing it down and around. Let's see what we can come up with here. Maybe pin light's not the best idea. It does kind of, you know, we bring those black up. Too much though. Yeah, I'm not sure that we're going to get much out of a color fill as we will out of a words as like a curves layer or something like that. Alright, so let's do the pin light there. So that's what we were playing with before. This is a divide, so we'll play with the effect of that. Let's go with we'll go with curves, and then we'll do color balance after. So we got a lot of stuff in the darks, and I do want this to be, generally speaking, a kind of a dark image. So that, like I said before, our contrast is in the light tones, or saturation rather, is in the light tones, which would mean that is then actually our midtone, so that we can get the maximum saturation maximized. I actually don't like that pin light too much. I'll just lower its effect a little bit here. And then that curves. Let me lower the effect of that as well. You know, I like that it makes it you know, not quite as punchy there, but I don't know. Okay, so then we could definitely do a darker color layer. We could also do a color balance, so we'll start with a color balance. So we're playing with the mids right now. Shadow color. Yeah, I'm thinking I really want to push this saturation of this world. crazy. I'm going to do beneath this, I'll do darker color. We'll take this this white in here. Oops. And we'll give this a more defined value, or color rather. Hum. So I'm just starting to merge these colors in together so that they're not so disparate. I'm going to grab this, it's funny, it looks pink, but it's actually quite into that blue region, and we're just going to go a little bit less gray with it, and that should make it up here more blue. It's like the closer we get to gray, the kind of warmer it appears. See, that almost looks green. It's crazy. It's crazy how these colors kind of dance off of each other. Let's see if we can blend this color in. We'll use probably this W head flat would be a decent one. Actually, no, this rough flat would be great. And let's see. Not exactly sure. What direction I would want to go with all these, but may switch this layer over to lighter color. But we'll see how this works out for now. Part of what I'm seeing happen is the background is you know, it's supposed to be kind of textural, loose. But it, to me, feels like it's starting to not make much sense, you know, like the shapes that are supposed to be in front of each other aren't exactly cooperating, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start trying to organize it just a little bit more. I wonder if we couldn't maybe bring in a kind of interesting flow to all of that as well. You know, so that it looks like it's swirling and, you know, kind of acting on this otherworldly kind of physical effect to it. So this too could be an opportunity to use that background to lead the eye into our ship here. I mean, we're already going quite heavy with that, but it could have. We could play with a couple of other things here. I think that we need a third element, right? So we've got the ship comes into the city in this crazy environment. There's got to be something else going on. Okay, so instead of darker color, what if we do darken? No? See, I like this texture in here, and I want to keep all that. We could just do like multiply, color burn, something like that. Bring these values up so that we're only dealing with certain areas. I suppose if we could compare that to what we had, be like there, to there, yeah. Maybe I'll just lower the fill so that we still get some of that effect. We need like some people like tracking, tracking our guy coming in or something, some kind of thing like that. So if we do like down here, I'm not sure how much that color balance even helps. Interesting. Okay. Alright, yeah, so if we have like maybe something down here. Like searchlight type things. We gotta do some itty bitty tiny ones over here. Show the scale. symbol up in the clouds or something. I think we need, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, can't say don't want to go nuts. I'm already going nuts with these, but I think we need to show more of these little, details in the city. But I think the concept of having a third element to tell this story, so it goes from place to place with an object, like a ship here, to place with an object with some kind of interaction that's driving it, that creates a relationship between the parts. Maybe a little too heavy with the complement. Trying to keep the color scheme a little bit subdued. I mean, obviously it's very blue, but I don't want this to be like blue and teal and purple and pink, and I kind of want to understate some of these things so that they can survive in this ecosystem. Use words we can all understand, Eric, so that they can work together, play nicely together in this palette. That's really what I mean. Using some hyperbolic language there. See, there you go again. It's getting pretty dark. I like the fact that we're brightening things up, but I mean, with that last color balance or whatever, but I don't like that the saturation ends up being so strong. Maybe we'll go to hue saturation. We'll start grabbing some individual zones. And messing with them. There we go. So now we've isolated the engine, and so we can shift this over. Well, have we isolated it? Do we need to spread that a little more? Yeah. Something like that. Okay, we'll bring that saturation down. We'll shift this color until we're happy. If such a thing can be accomplished. Can a hue saturation layer bring happiness? Life questions. I might prefer this being basically in that blue range so that it isn't so overstated. And it's still pretty high value, you know, but actually it's funny, that's such a subtle change there, going from that teal to blue. Kind of brings everything down. Let's start selecting our other color zones. So we'll grab our blue. Let's just play with this a bit and make sure we're grabbing the zones we want to grab. Okay. So that's basically what we're working with right there. So then, do we want to decrease some of that contrast? Shift those values a little bit. Woo! This is where things get wild, but rewarding, potentially. Now, I kind of like where this is going, but I think that I enjoyed the background being really separated as a, you know, so with that, these kind of pinks in the background there, that makes that like, that's a break outside of this world. And in fact, I kind of want to tighten it up a little more even. But that color just feels a little bit more harmonious to me, you know. What is this guy talking about? Harmony? Color? Harmonious? This guy's lost his mind. Okay. Okay. So I think we either go desaturated, brighter, or darker with more saturation. Somewhere in there, I think. Maybe we just need to mask an area off as well. That might help. So if we mask off maybe this foreground. And we'll hide that mask. Invert it. It's okay, almost like what's going on there. Almost. Just can't quite bring myself to it. Alright, let's do another hue saturation. We'll grab our pinks in the background. Magenta. And do we want to do this before? That may make more sense before we do the last step. That way we're not grabbing too much of this. Okay. I almost like it. Almost. Actually, might make more sense to address those midtones later. Somewhere in there. I'm not sure that that really gives us. Let's go back to the shadows here. So this is what we started with. Much more saturated. And we did all that messing around. So it's kind of interesting. So if maybe we decrease this effect here, so we still end up with a little bit of saturation there, and then we pull that out. Maybe we can just mask that off a little bit so that it is not so strong. Maybe something like that. I like it being shifted in hue just enough that it changes, that it pulls you away from the background, but I thought it was too strong. Okay, and then these buildings here are starting to pull into that background. So I'm tempted to paint them in blue like this, and we'll just do darker color. Like that. Let's see if we can pull them away from the background. That's the idea here. Maybe need to go darker than that. And maybe these lights here, where are they? These guys. Let's just do a, let's do this. Let's see, I think these are a solid color, so we'll just do a fill, new fill, solid color. Bippity boop. Pin this down to the layer below it. Or we could, use a mask and do all that, but this way we can just adjust this color to our liking. And that is the third element, so I'm debating the extent to which I want it to pop out. You know, to contrast with the background. We could have it correlate to the light, you know, so it's bring it into that teal, cyan zone there, and then maybe desaturate it a little bit. Darker, I think. Still, these kind of subtle, okay, almost subtle purples there were kind of nice too. Somewhere in there. Okay, I'm getting way too finicky for what we're doing here. So, I think this is probably the place to stop. I'm gonna find that darker color right there, yeah. Let's do, instead of darker color, we went through this before, but let's do That's interesting, doing saturation. Normal, I'm sorry, darker color versus saturation. And maybe we just bump up that underlying color. And there's another darken layer in here, I believe, isn't there? That one. That's roughly where we started. And let's see, this guy here, that could be pushed back. Or even eliminated, perchance. Depends on, what it's doing for us. I won't leave it. Maybe we bring in some little lights and stuff. Like, let's see. I'll just use the smudge brush. Mm. This is the point where I'm definitely adding more to the composition and giving myself more to balance, like these little areas of little contrasty bits here that could come back to bite me. But I don't know. It feels like it needs something. So that is what we will give it. Something. I'm trying to balance these relationships between the edges of these shapes. Right. Trying to show a sharp edge, kind of comes to a point here. And then soften up, you get a hard edge on the backside here, and then soften up that transition till it just kind of fades away. But we may end up needing to colorize this layer. We'll see. Because, obviously we're ending up with that kind of green look that it's not necessarily desirable here. Alright, let's color this one. Hue, saturation, colorize. We'll decrease the value, increase the saturation. Bring it into those blues. Let's see. Yeah, it is kind of nice to subdue that a little bit. It's got such sharp shape language. It's got the dynamic angle compared to all these like rigid linear angles. It's got that brightest color, you know, so all of that together is just really screaming like, look at this thing over here, you know. So I'm going to temper that a little bit. Okay, I think this is probably a good place to stop. We made a mess. And we made some brushes too. But yeah, this would be fun, I think, to come in here. I can see, you know, like grabbing some shapes. Oh, excuse me. I'm starting to build this out, you know, as a more kind of three-dimensional type of thing. You know, I can pull these out. You don't have to do too much even. Whoops, on the wrong layer there. Just go up above everything so we can pull this out. To Control Shift I, grab our shadow value. Just go underneath it. See, I think a lot of little shapes like that would start to bring this out, you know, into a different light. It would feel, well, I should probably not talk about what it would feel like, but what could be done with this, I guess is what I'm saying, is that this could be detailed out a bit here. Given some more interesting shapes to play with that aren't just you know, these solids. I like the shape language, the form language that we're playing with there, but again, see, we can add in some little smaller details into it that I think really start to make it an interesting focal point rather than a kind of, well, it's still kind of the blocking, right? So we want to get past that. Let's try something here with the lighting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like this being darker in general, but I think it adds a new layer of complexity. I'm not sure that I really quite want to jump into this late. Mm. Hmm. Okay, there's definitely more, that could be done here, but I think it's time. It is 12:35 Eastern Time, and I think I'm going to call it here. So let's go full screen here. And I think you recall we developed this brush, here. Played with some greeble ideas. It's interesting here, it actually, that pattern repeats very visibly, so I think there's going to be a point where it breaks down. But that'll be perhaps an interesting framework to play off of. And there are a couple of other options there as far as the texture. We didn't even bother adding, well, I guess we did add a little texture, but we didn't use it to accomplish the greeble, so we could definitely do that. But, excuse me, I think this is where we're going to have to end it. And, yeah, thank you for joining in tonight. And I hope you enjoyed it and had a project of your own that you were working on. And, thank you for coming, and have a good night.